Welcome, guys, to episode number 38 of Our Ketogenic Life.
Welcome.
And we're talking about 7 foods to avoid. Last week we talked about foods to include while doing keto. So now we're going to see what we need to avoid.
Right.
So.
And you think that if you these are kind of no-brainers, but a lot of times.
If you're just starting.
Right.
You know, this may be something that's new to you.
Right.
If you've been doing keto for a while, you probably will agree with us.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully you'll already have gotten these out, but...
And the last one we're going to talk about is you may have been doing keto for a long time too. And we're going to talk about number 7, and that's something that you can avoid as well. So you got to stick to the end to get number 7.
Right.
All right, number 1, fruit juice. Surprising some people. We give it to our kids all the time. We give it to our kids.
Yeah, we used to.
Yeah, we used to. Well, we don't have kids anymore. But we gave it to our kids because fruit,
right?
Juice.
You think?
It's good.
Right. You think, they can't have just water.
Right. And,
I don't know why I thought that.
It's kind of like the same as vegetable oil.
Right.
It's just, it's just something that's marketed really well. And it's marketed to, kids.
And it's supposed to be healthy.
It's supposed to be healthy. There's all kinds of things. They say vitamin C loaded.
100% juice.
Right. But the problem with fruit juices is that you take away all the good stuff out of the fruit. And then you're just given basically, fructose.
Yeah.
So, eating fruit, especially with kids, if we're talking about kids, even with adults as well, is when you're eating fruit, you are also getting other things in the fruit.
Your fiber.
Fiber, other things that are beneficial. But all that is eliminated when you're eating fruit or drinking fruit juice. Fruit juice, let's just go to fruits. Fruits, I've heard it described as nature's candy. So it should be something like a treat. So it shouldn't be something that we eat, I don't think, every day. It should be in season and to give your body the nutrients that it does need. But again, we've talked about it before. People ask, can we eat fruit on keto? And we always talk about, waiting until you get metabolically sound, then adding the fruits back in.
And
seasonally.
not in seasonally and not every day.
No, I don't think you have to have them every day. You don't have to have all those.
And we used to keep a big bowl right on the island
all the time.
of all kinds. Because I thought I always want my kids to be able to come through. And
well, you're thinking about snacks,
right?
If you think about a piece of fruit versus Snickers bar,
right?
Obviously, a fruit's better.
But ours would eat both.
Yeah. So.
I mean,
it's real.
Right.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So fruit juices. If you have children, do not give them fruit juices. Yeah. It sets them up for the fruit. It's a fructose and it's metabolized through your liver. And can progress through like fatty liver as kids get older. So just avoid it. Number 2, pasta and rice. Now, I don't have problems with this.
I love pasta.
Yeah.
I love rice too, but pasta more than... So several years ago, before I never fixed pasta hardly ever because our son Zachary didn't, he liked it okay, but he always... worked out and stuff, so he didn't really want to eat it either. And you've never really liked it that well, like not even for
even before we started
carbs,
keto and stuff. I just never. I don't know if it's the way it made me feel or whatever, but I just never did eat pasta. So
the girls and I love pasta, and so we would always, if we went somewhere, if it was shopping without the guys, we'd try to go, to someplace that had pasta. So I really honestly never fixed it at home just because it just wasn't something I fixed very rarely at least. So we came up with probably about, I don't even know, like maybe 8 years ago or something. We came up with a Italian Christmas is what we called it. So the Sunday before Christmas Eve.
Right, whatever that falls on.
Whatever that falls on, because church is usually we've quit Sunday evening for the holiday. We've had our cantata. We've already sung our cantata, so we started doing that. Anyway, so we would come together and we'd have a big pasta meal. and we would have tons of pastas.
Different kinds of
pastas. And then we started incorporating, of course, for Zachary and Kevin, meats, sauce, meatballs, and some like chicken and stuff.
Actually, we had chicken crusted pizza this time.
Yeah,
did we?
I think
for
so.
me.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway, so it's one of those things that's really honestly like once a year. And I found that especially the last few years, like I don't even have to have as much. You know, we will do it.
Right. It's a family tradition.
Yeah.
It's our life.
Right. And we always want all kinds of different ones because we never fix it. So we fix every sauce. We fix, Alfredo and red sauce and the meatballs. And so we fix a pesto. And I would say probably the majority of it we put in the fridge and
don't eat it usually.
We throw it away probably.
So, pasta is usually made out of like enriched flour.
Right. And
that takes away all the nutrients as well too. And, with the way it affects your blood sugar is it spikes it. It spikes your glucose. And, a lot of times if you notice if you do eat pasta, how you feel afterwards. Usually you'll have kind of a rush, and then you'll have a kind of like a collapse and feeling tired, no energy.
Feel heavy and
Yeah, you feel like you're weighted down. That's a good point. Yeah. And it's just the way, one thing that we want you to do is no matter what we talk about, is to start listening to your body. If you don't feel good, think about what you did, what you ate, and it's probably not agreeing with you.
And it's not, again, that you can never have pasta.
Right. There's different forms of pasta now.
And even though I don't even think that it matters because, I think the gluten-free or the whole wheat, I don't think that even really matters so much because it's all processed flours.
Right. Unless you have gluten problems.
Yes. But it's not going to be any healthier or anything.
No, healthier. Just how it affects you.
Right. But in the same way with rice, it's not that you can never have it. It's just that usually cultures that eat it, the way that they process it, the way that they make it, the way that they're, they don't have, I don't think a lot of these places in other countries have genetically modified rice and wheat and flours.
And what else they eat with them.
And what else they eat. And I don't think they eat like a huge bowl, like when we do pasta, it's usually a big, huge, that's the big meal. Yeah. And so.
It's not the main dish, it's the side dish.
Yeah. So anyway.
Number 3, corn and its derivatives. We can talk about corn on the cob, cream corn, corn tortillas, cornbread. Some of you may not know of cornbread. You've never had it before.
I would say most people know cornbread, don't they?
Be interesting. But the main thing that probably the worst thing that corn ends up being is corn syrup.
Right.
Because it has more fructose than glucose. It has about 55% fructose and it has about 45% glucose. And regular table sugar has about 50-50. And obviously, if you've listened to us before and what we just talked about a minute ago with fructose, it is not metabolized like glucose. It's different. And it can lead to fatty liver. So if you have fatty liver, this is something that you really need to stay away from. And it's in a lot of foods, and we have to really look and see where it's at because it's cheap. It's a lot cheaper than the oils that we recommend.
And again, it's one of those things that in season, maybe if you had a corn on the cob, some people grill it out every once in a while, but not on a regular basis. It's not healthy to.
If you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend it. I would probably after you get.
It's gonna be a lot of sugar and carbs. And actually, I used to, and I think my grandmother taught me to do this. Like when you open up a can of corn, and that's not even really something. My kids the kids always liked mashed potatoes, which we'll get to that. With corn, like Zachary would always make a well in his mashed potatoes and just fill it up with corn. And I'm admitting that I didn't think anything about it because my grandmother taught me to do this. I would actually, when you do the corn, I put sugar. Actual sugar in the corn and butter.
You want to even up the fructose.
I don't know why. That's just the way. It's not like it's not sweet enough.
I know.
I have no idea why.
I bet it tasted good though, didn't it?
Of course.
Yeah. So I've not heard of that before.
You probably didn't see me do it. That's the way I made it.
Oh, no wonder everybody liked your corn.
Yeah.
Your secret.
Secret recipe.
Yes. Number 4 is potatoes.
Yes.
I don't care how you make them, potatoes. There is a lot of sugar in a baked potato, and especially if you take that potato and you fry it in bad oils, you're just doubling up the bad things. So I can't remember. As far as a baked potato, I've not eaten a baked potato. I cannot remember the last time I ate a baked potato. I can say maybe I've eaten some French fries every now and then. I can't remember, but I'm sure I have somewhere along the line. But
I can't remember.
Yeah, but potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. I'm sure
mashed
the
potatoes.
last time we had them was probably, I'm trying to think. Well, this year we really didn't get to do Easter because of the pandemic, so we didn't make them. Usually, I make mashed potatoes, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter.
That's
the only time I make them.
And a lot of that has to do with, we don't try to force what we do on other people. And if people are coming over for dinner,
I make your kids are not going to come home.
Yeah. Now our kids
don't make. All of our kids eat pretty healthy, but they want still
and
on holidays.
They're 22, 26, and 28.
Yeah,
something like that. So we don't have little kids, so it's a little bit different. Maybe if they were smaller, we would do something different. Because
if we had to start all over, I would start off making them eat.
Right.
Not like having this still every once in a while. Again, it's not that you think you're depriving yourself of it, but it's the healthier way to live.
Right.
So if I had to do over, I would still raise them to, I wouldn't have so many carbs and so much fruit and things like that. But, I'm not going to lie and say that I fix cauliflower mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd have I did make it along with the other ones. Nobody ate it. I think we did. You did. And I probably had both.
Yeah.
Because I love mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So, but again, I know it's, 3 times a year are really plenty of, it's okay.
Oh, so we're fine.
Yeah.
And number 5, bread.
Oh, bread.
That's a hard one. We go out to dinner with people.
Last night we went to a steakhouse.
Yeah, and they had bread out and it looked really
They don't do keto at all.
They don't
even,
And so again, they wanted bread, we get it, and we didn't get it.
No, we didn't even.
So
I really wasn't tempted by it.
Last night I wasn't either. I'm not
You're
really
very rarely tempted by it.
Even before I probably didn't eat bread, and maybe if I got bored sitting waiting for my food to come, I would eat something. But now I don't. I consciously make a decision not to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not a big thing for me. I know it is for you.
I love bread.
And if you're just starting out with keto, don't beat yourself up if you break over.
Right. But what's really good, like what we usually do, if it would have been just us, we would say we tell them don't even bring it to the table. Like, why tempt yourself?
Yeah.
Or then why even tempt yourself? Because I know sometimes, like starting out, if you said, well, maybe I'll just have a little bite of it, and then you've eaten the whole basket. You may as well don't even fool yourself. If you're going to bring it to the table, you're going to end up eating it. So just don't even. You'll thank us if you just say don't even bring it.
And then also like a hamburger.
Oh right.
With the buns.
Well, I
it's
remember
just
the last
normal. Time. It's just normal for us.
I remember the last time we had a sandwich.
No, just to get, like, if we're eating a hamburger, just use that as an example. It's just normal for us to make a hamburger patty, put cheese or bacon or whatever,
mushrooms or whatever it is,
whatever it is you want on it, and just get a knife and a fork or a fork, whatever.
And a fried egg is really good on top of one.
And that's just the way we eat it.
Yeah.
I mean,
with lettuce.
And if you keep following us and you keep doing this, you'll get to the point where it's just your new normal.
Right.
And you don't even think about getting the bread anymore, and not concentrate on what you're not having and concentrate on what you do have.
Right, exactly. Again, it goes back to it's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not that you can never have something, but get yourself metabolically sound where you're really not going. You're going to realize, how I feel when I don't eat the pasta, the potatoes, the corn, the bread. How I feel when I don't eat that is much better than the very little time on your tongue that it takes. It feels good, it tastes good for just a second.
Right.
And then it's over.
Right.
And then you think, how you feel versus And so don't let your taste buds dictate how you feel.
Right. Number 6, grain cereals, and we can add oatmeal to this too.
Yeah. I just had someone when I was walking the other day.
Yeah. I thought about that's why I added that on there.
Because she, we were walking, and she does not do keto at all, but her husband does. But she eats. She's like, she eats healthy. Oh, I know what it was. We were walking early. Me and a group of girls were walking, and she said that usually, like she has to eat a little something before she comes walking because she just gets she starts feeling lightheaded and getting too hungry, so she eats oatmeal. And she goes, well, I eat healthy breakfast. I eat oatmeal and then I add brown sugar to it. I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to tell her.
So much to learn.
Right. I had to tell her, I'm like, okay, that's not healthy. But, and she knows that, she's like, what? So people just don't realize all the
way it's marketed.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be heart healthy, but it's all sugar. It's carbs. It's
and look at cereals.
Oh, no.
If you look at, I don't know, like Special K or whatever brand you want to say, there are a lot of similar cornflakes or even
they're
Cheerios.
all delicious.
Yeah, even
when
Cheerios.
you're eating them. Yeah.
And again, if we're going to talk about cereals, let's talk about serving sizes too.
Oh, right.
Oh my goodness. Have you ever measured out what a serving size is in cereal?
An actual real measurement, not just guessing.
Yeah, get it out. I mean, if when I first did this, I can't remember specifics because it was several years ago, but instead of having one serving, I had Jethro bowl.
Right.
Is that what's that from?
What?
What's the Jethro one?
The Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hillbillies, yeah. I had his kind of bowl. I mean, that's the kind I had, and I probably had 5 servings. Easily. And if you just take one serving, and they're all different, but they're, probably roughly 40 carbs. Yeah. Do you know how many carbs you're supposed to have a day? Do you remember? For a male.
Total carbs?
Yeah.
You mean for the, the American Standard Diet? Standard
for the American Heart Association.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I don't remember.
I believe it was 38 carbs a day. Oh. And that cereal, one serving, usually has around 40. Now it can have 20, it can have 50, but usually it's around 40. So if you eat 2 or 3 servings of that, you've already quadrupled, tripled your amount of carbs you're supposed to have that day.
And I used to always love, because you'd think it was healthy. So you think, well, it's much better to eat that than something bad. So I mean, probably, I was in a habit of, I would say almost every night, eating a bowl of cereal before bed.
That's a habit, yeah.
Because I just thought, well, I don't like to go to bed hungry, and I thought that's healthier than eating some kind of chocolate or some kind of
Snickers
chips or
I keep saying Snickers.
I know.
Well, think about also when you eat the cereal. What do you put on it? Sugar usually, right?
Yeah, usually.
A lot of times you'll put sugar on it, and then what do you else put in it?
The milk, which has sugar and carbs. Yeah.
8 ounces of milk has, I think, 12 grams of sugar, and so if you add that up, and you eat a bowl of cereal in the morning, and you're hungry at 10 o'clock, that's why, because you're not giving your body any energy to sustain yourself.
Yeah.
It's going up and down real quick. So cereals is something to really look at as far as trying to remove from your diet. And there's been so many times, like when Danae talked about the oatmeal or the cereal, that I've had people come into the clinic saying, I eat a healthy diet. I had, Special K. I had Cheerios, whatever it may be. And, no wonder their blood sugar's going high. So just watch out for that as well.
And other grains like cream of wheat, grits, what are other grains that some people would eat in the mornings or just eat in general? Oatmeal, the cereals. I guess there's mostly that. Yeah. And even though a lot of times bread, I want to go back when I thought of grains. A lot of times people think that they're changing their bread from white to wheat.
Right. Or the rice.
Or, that they think that it's much better to change it. They're eating whole grain.
Right.
And there's lots of, ones that are marketed. You've got the whole grain that are 7 grains, whole grains, all this. Right. They're still wreaking havoc on your blood sugar.
Right. And your insulin.
And getting your insulin. So really watch.
Yes. And number 7,
yes,
which is the one I wanted you to wait for, is processed food.
So that's a big, wide.
That's a wide range of different things. You know, if it was here 200 years ago, that's a good starting point. That is probably okay. You know, there are some things that we still will watch, like potatoes or something like that. But if you're looking at something and you think, okay, should I eat this?
We're looking at something processed that it's shelf stable.
Right.
You know, like something that you try to just avoid, something that's in a box or something that...
Or if you look at the ingredients and you have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
That is something that is processed. And again, when they process it, it goes back to like the corn oil, the vegetable oils. Those are the cheaper oils.
Those are the trans fats. Those are trans fats, are bad fats.
Right.
So that's not, you don't want to look at something and say, oh, that's got a lot of fat in it, I'll eat it.
Right.
No, that's probably got a lot of trans fats. It's going to cause inflammation, and that's not good for you.
Yes.
But like processed foods, like there's all kinds of things on the market that, you know, Atkins bars, keto bars, Slim Fast, things that you think, oh, well, this is okay because it fits my macros.
Right. There's good, better, and best.
Yes. And it's not, again, we go back to, it's not that you can never have something, but we don't want you to think that you're, you know, doing well and it's possibly causing you to have a stall or just not to get to feel as good as what you can feel. But there's a lot of processed foods that
just
try to avoid.
Just watching. So, takeaways. All right. We talked a lot about foods to add last week, and we talked about some foods to take away this week. So, if you're struggling, if you have, you know, some people can just, like if you go to a pool, some people want to just jump in and do it all at one time. Some people want to get their feet wet, then their legs, and then up to their waist and their shoulders. They want to take their time. So if you're not one that really wants to just jump in and change everything at one time, everybody's a little bit different. The one thing I would really recommend for you to do is listen to our podcast last week and add one food from that podcast every week. Listen to this podcast, which you are, and take away one of the foods that we talked about today. And then a month from now, you know, you didn't jump right in, but you've kind of eased yourself into it. And if you just do these things right here, in a couple months, you'll be so much more healthier.
Replacing this week's with last week's.
Right. So that's what we encourage you to do. So try to do that. If you have problems, you know, you can always reach out to us. That's fine as well. We can talk to you. We can respond to you. If you ever need a little bit more one-on-one, if you need a little bit more in depth, if you're having problems and these things aren't working for you, there are some things that can kind of hold you back. But those things need to be explored probably on a one-on-one basis, and we do that coaching as well. So there's a link in our podcast today as well that you can get on a call with us, and we can talk and we can see if we can help you. We always have our Fat Burners Academy. We have a lot of people getting a lot of good results there. So you can always join that, and that's on our links as well. So there's different ways to help.
Yeah.
We can help
and if you want to do I would encourage anybody who's just starting off, if you're not sure, you know, we've already done all the work for you. Don't try to, you know, get an information here and then here and here, and then you're not getting results. Join our Fat Burners Academy, and we have, I mean, a ton of resources to help you. You can get your, you know, first 14 days. The first month is free.
Right.
You get, you know, the first 14 days of Jumpstart, get those meals. We get a Zoom call twice a month where you get to actually talk to us and other members, asking questions. That's where a lot of people start doing better because
I see a lot of progress.
I do too. When they start talking with each other and realizing, oh, I'm not the only one struggling with this. Because a lot of times we try to tell you, listen, we've been there, done that. We struggle the same way, and let us help you through it. But a lot of times when you're in that group with the other ones that have just started, some are a little bit farther down the road, it's really nice to realize you're not in it alone, and it can help you get over a hurdle.
Right. And you know what we say too is being in a community is much better than trying to have willpower.
Right.
It's much more powerful. So it will help. All right, guys. Our verse for the day.
Today is James 4:7, and it is therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So, a lot of times people want to just start off saying, resist the devil and he will flee. That's a lot of times people quote that as the verse. And it's like, hold it.
Yeah, there's one important part.
The most important part is submit to God.
Right.
Resist the devil and he will flee. So
we can't
encourage you with that.
If you or Danae or I think that you are, quote, strong enough to resist the devil and his temptations, we're headed down a bad road. If you think about when Christ was tempted, he used Scripture. I mean, he used Scripture to resist the devil. And we have to, especially during this time and age, we have to be aware of the things that are going on in our world. And, a lot of things in our world are kind of making us focus on something different. There's riots, race relations, there's COVID, there's all kinds of things. But we have to keep Christ as our main focus. And if we submit to him, and submitting is not doing what you want to do. You have to do what God wants you to do. And you learn that through Scripture, through listening, hearing the Word of God. So, submitting your will to his and not wanting to do what you want to do is key to resisting the devil. And he promises, right in James 4:7, he will flee. So those are the steps you have to take.
Very good.
All right. So hopefully you guys, this has helped. Check out our links. If you have any questions, concerns, please let us know. Otherwise, we will see you back next week.